Master Han said. A warrior is not someone who fights. A warrior is someone who protects peace. I raised my hand. My current peace is extremely fragile. Does that count? He nodded. Then you must learn to carry it without gripping it. We practiced slow forms that transitioned into sudden stillness. The idea was to keep the mind calm while the body stayed alert. In my case, this mostly looked like someone trying to meditate in a haunted house. But as we continued, I understood. The peaceful warrior isn't free of fear. They just don't let fear drive the bus. They breathe through the adrenaline. They stand their ground, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. The emotional takeaway was huge for me. I don't have to choose between being nice and being strong. I can be both. I can protect my boundaries with the calm authority of a librarian shushing a loud room. By the end of the session, I felt like I could handle a crisis, or at least a mildly inconvenient email, and honestly, that's enough warrior energy for a Tuesday. Return to source, Master Han instructed during meditation. I closed my eyes and tried to find source. I found my grocery list. A song from 2003 stuck in my head, a vague worry about whether I locked the door. Go deeper. Master Han's voice drifted over. I let my breath sink. I let the mental chatter run out of fuel, and in the quiet space underneath, I felt a faint, steady hum. A version of me that wasn't trying to impress anyone, wasn't late, wasn't broken, just existing. It was startlingly simple. Returning to source wasn't about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who I was before I started performing for the world. Emotionally, it felt like taking off a tight pair of shoes at the end of a long day. The authentic self doesn't need to be built, it just needs to be visited. When I opened my eyes, Master Han smiled. You look like you just met an old friend. I think I did, I said. Turns out I'm actually quite pleasant when I'm not panicking. Master Han took us outside and pointed at a tree. The tree does not stress about winter, he said. It drops its leaves, it rests, it trusts spring will come. The tree also doesn't have rent, I pointed out helpfully. True, he conceded, but you suffer because you fight the seasons of your own life. You want summer all the time. Ouch. He was right. I treat my emotional winters as failures. I try to force productivity when my soul clearly needs hibernation. Harmony with nature, he continued, is accepting the cycle. Rest when tired, grow when ready, do not push the river. We spent the afternoon walking quietly, noticing how everything in the forest moved at its own pace. Nothing was rushing, nothing was lazy, it was all just right. I realized that my anxiety often comes from thinking I'm separate from nature. But I'm biological. I have seasons too. Allowing myself to have a winter day without guilt felt like a radical act of self-care. I decided to harmonize with nature by taking a nap later, for spiritual reasons, obviously. Hold the posture, Master Han said. 3 minutes passed. My arms began to tremble. My patients began to file a formal complaint. Patience is not waiting, he said. Patience is how you behave while waiting. I grimaced. My behavior while waiting is usually internal screaming. Suffering comes from the gap between where you are and where you want to be, he explained. Close the gap, be fully here. I tried it. Instead of focusing on when the pain would end, I focused on the sensation right now. Strangely, the suffering dialed down. The discomfort remained, but the agony faded. Cultivating patience turned out to be the ultimate emotional hack. It's the ability to sit in traffic or uncertainty or grief without adding an extra layer of misery on top. It's saying, okay, this is happening now. I can be with this. When we finally released the posture, I felt proud.
He smiled because he enjoys my confusion the way gardeners enjoy rain. Upper Dantian is the mind, middle is the heart, lower is the foundation. It felt like he'd just described the 3 departments of my internal corporation, none of which communicate properly. My upper Dantian runs constant meetings about the future. My middle Dantian holds surprise emotional hearings with no agenda. My lower Dantian mostly just wants stability, snacks, and a clear sense that we are not being chased by predators or deadlines. Master Han had me stand and breathe into each center, like checking in with housemates who share the same apartment but have wildly different sleep schedules. When I breathed into the upper, my thoughts softened. When I breathed into the middle, my chest felt warmer, less guarded. When I breathed into the lower, my whole body felt like it finally sat down in itself. The emotional lesson was almost comical. I don't need to get rid of my thoughts or feelings. I need management. The Dantians weren't mystical to me in that moment. They were a way to distribute attention, so my mind doesn't hoard all the power like an over-caffeinated intern. Now, we practice small circulation. He described it like an internal loop, up the spine, down the front of the body, continuously, gentle, smooth, guided by breath and attention. He made it sound as easy as just circulate your energy, which is the kind of instruction that feels suspiciously like being told to just be confident. I sat, relaxed, and tried to visualize the pathway. Immediately, my brain produced an image of a tiny traffic roundabout inside my torso, with my chi stuck behind a spiritual delivery truck. Master Han corrected me. Do not imagine too hard. Feel, follow the breath. So I did it the way I do everything when I'm overwhelmed. Less effort, more sincerity. I softened my face, breathed into my belly, and traced the route with attention, like my awareness was a warm flashlight moving through my body. At first, nothing. Then a subtle sensation. Tingling, warmth, a gentle current. Not fireworks, more like a phone charging quietly on the nightstand. You don't notice it until you suddenly have more battery. I realized why this mattered emotionally. My stress often feels like energy leaking everywhere, into rumination, tension, doom scenarios. Small circulation felt like gathering the scattered parts of myself and running them through a simple loop. Up, down, repeat. No drama, no new story. A renewable energy source, yes. Powered by breath, patience, and the radical act of not spiraling. When Master Han said, great circulation, I assumed it involved either advanced enlightenment or advanced dizziness. This is bigger, he explained. Not only the main orbit, it reaches the limbs, it harmonizes the whole system. He emphasized that you don't force it, because forcing energy work is like forcing sleep. You end up awake, sweaty, and offended. We practice gently, standing, breathing, opening and closing the body, letting attention expand outward. I felt warmth in my hands, heaviness in my feet, a surprising sense that my body was not a clumsy vehicle for my head, but an intelligent network. At one point, my palms tingled so strongly I looked down, half expecting them to have started a side hustle. Master Han noticed. Good. You are connecting. It felt like my system had switched from low battery mode to okay, we can handle things. Not manic energy, steady energy. The kind where you don't need to prove anything because you're not running on fumes. Emotionally, great circulation taught me a quiet truth. Resilience is physical. When my body has flow, my mind has space. When my mind has space, my feelings stop acting like they're fighting for the last seat on the bus. That evening, I had a hard moment, one of those sudden dips where sadness shows up like an uninvited guest who still somehow knows your middle name. I felt heavy, irritable, fragile. Old me would have handled it with a proven method, scrolling, snacking, and privately negotiating with the universe. Master Han saw my face and said, "You are holding something." I tried to deny it. No, this is just my face doing weather. He nodded as if that was fair. Then he said, "Come, practice." He didn't sit me down for a lecture. He had me move, slow Tai Chi transitions, a little silk reeling, a few rounds of standing meditation. He told me to breathe into my belly and let the exhale be long, like letting...
I need to extend each piece into a gentle novel from the first-person perspective, ensuring I keep the humor and focus on emotional well-being. Someone at breakfast whispered, "Immortal practices, the way people whisper, secret menu." I leaned in, like, living forever. Master Han didn't even blink. Living long, living well, living lightly. That was slightly less cinematic than I'd hoped. I wanted a glowing peach, a thunderbolt, maybe at least a dramatic rope. Instead, he handed me a schedule. Sleep, breath training, moderate movement, calm mind, simple food, fewer desires. I stared at it. So the path to immortality is basic self-care? Master Han nodded. Yes, but done consistently. That is why it is rare. We practiced a blend of breathing, gentle conditioning, and quiet sitting. Nothing flashy, just the daily maintenance I usually deny my body while expecting it to run like a luxury car. The emotional lesson was humbling. I'm always asking life for more time, yet I treat my own time like it's disposable. Immortal practices weren't promising I'd live forever. They were reminding me to stop living like I'm in a hurry to get to the end. By afternoon, I felt oddly sturdy, like my cells had unionized and negotiated better working conditions. I might not become immortal, but I could at least stop acting like stress is a personality. Standing meditation sounded like a scam invented by someone who wanted to assign homework without taking responsibility for it. Stand, Master Han said. Relax, hold the posture. That's it? I asked. That is it, he replied, which is what teachers say right before your legs discover new definitions of time. We stood in a posture like hugging a tree, arms rounded, knees soft, spine tall. For 30 seconds, I felt peaceful. For 60 seconds, I felt suspicious. At 2 minutes, my thighs started writing dramatic poetry. My mind did what it always does under pressure. It tried to leave. It replayed old conversations, planned future ones, imagined emergency scenarios involving raccoons. But the stance kept pulling me back to the present through sensation, feet on ground, breath in belly, shoulders melting down. Master Han walked by and said softly, "You are not doing nothing. You are learning not to panic while doing nothing." That line hit me like a gentle bell. Most of my stress comes from my inability to simply be. Standing meditation was practice in staying. Staying with discomfort, staying with uncertainty, staying with myself without reaching for distraction like it's a flotation device. When we finished, I felt quieter, not fixed, just less at war. Also, I walked away with the deep respect one usually reserves for furniture that never complains. Walking meditation sounded pleasant until I realized it involved walking at the speed of a thoughtful snail. Feel the heel, Master Han instructed, then the sole, then the toes. I did one step. It took roughly a decade. At first, I was annoyed. My brain kept insisting we could get to the same place faster and still be mindful. We can multitask mindfulness. This is the same voice that says you can relax efficiently by scheduling it between meetings. But as I continued, something softened. The world widened. I noticed small things, the temperature of the air on my cheeks, the subtle shift of weight in my hips, the way the gravel sounded different when I stepped with less force. And then, embarrassingly, I noticed I was kind to myself for a whole minute straight. No self-criticism, no internal performance review, just walking. Master Han said, "When you walk like this, your mind cannot run away."
Master Han announced horse stance the way some people announce tax audit, calmly as if it's normal and with the faint sparkle of someone who will not be participating. "Feet wider," he said, nudging my heels apart with the serenity of a man rearranging furniture in a dream. I sank. My thighs immediately sent a group text to the rest of my body. We are under attack. At first, my mind tried bargaining. This is probably symbolic. Maybe the stance is internal. Then it tried spirituality. Pain is an illusion. Then it tried dishonesty. Maybe I'm already enlightened and don't need quads. Master Han walked past and tapped my hips. "You are rising. The horse is escaping." "I'm not rising," I hissed. "I'm emotionally levitating," he smiled. "Stay." Something surprising happened that after the initial panic, my breath slowed because it had to. My thoughts got simple. Inhale, exhale, don't collapse like a folding chair at a family reunion. The usual mental noise, what I should have said yesterday, what I might mess up tomorrow, couldn't compete with the very present fact that gravity was negotiating aggressively. And in that hot, trembling stillness, I found a weird kindness toward myself. I stopped insulting my legs for being weak and started encouraging them like nervous kittens. It's okay, we're safe. Nobody's judging us except that monk and the laws of physics. When Master Han finally released us, I stood up like a newborn giraffe discovering capitalism, but my heart felt steadier. Horse stance builds more than strength, it builds the quiet confidence of someone who has survived discomfort without becoming a villain. Later, 2 students were arguing near the water barrels, not shouting. This was a retreat, so it was more like tense whispering with passive-aggressive politeness. "I think you took my towel," one said, with the emotional restraint of a teapot about to whistle. "I did not take your towel," the other replied, in the tone people use when they very much took the towel but want the universe to prove it. I waited for Master Han to intervene with monk authority, some kind of sledgehammer approach. Instead, he wandered over like he'd come to admire the scenery. He looked at them, then at the barrel, then at the sky. "Ah," he said softly, "today we learn soft power." They blinked. I blinked. The towel conflict blinked. Master Han didn't accuse, didn't lecture, didn't slam down truth like a gavel. He just asked one question, gentle as a feather landing. "What do you need right now to feel okay?" The towel thief exhaled. "I'm tired. I grabbed the first towel I saw. I'm sorry." The towel owner's shoulders dropped like they'd been holding 2 grocery bags of resentment. "I just felt ignored," they admitted. No winner, no loser. Just 2 people suddenly human again. Hard power, I realized, is the sledgehammer. Quick, loud, decisive, sometimes necessary, especially if a tiger is involved. Soft power is the stream, patient, shaping the situation from the inside, dissolving the drama without declaring war. And for emotional well-being, soft power is the ability to protect yourself without becoming rigid. It's saying no without lighting the room on fire. It's choosing clarity over conquest. Master Han walked away humming, as if he hadn't just resolved a micro-war with a single sentence. I made a note to try that at home, right after I mastered not sending emails like a sledgehammer. The next morning, Master Han announced we would practice mindfulness in motion. I was excited. I imagined gliding serenely through the courtyard like a swan. In reality, I immediately kicked a stone. Not hard, but enough to wake up my toes and my ego at the same time. Master Han didn't react, which was somehow worse than laughter. He just said, "Good, now you have information." Information? I hopped in place, clutching my foot. "The information is that the stone is rude," he nodded. "Also true, but mindfulness is not perfection. It is noticing. Can you notice your breath while you move? Can you notice your mind reaching for the future while your body is still here?" We practiced simple stepping drills, slow, deliberate, quiet. Each step became its own tiny universe. Heel, sole, toes, toes. Inhale, exhale. My thoughts wandered, of course. They always do. My brain is a golden retriever, loving, enthusiastic, easily distracted by squirrels and worst-case scenarios. But each time I noticed I drifted into mental doom scrolling, I returned to the feeling of my foot meeting the ground. No scolding, no drama, just returning, like coming home without needing a reason. And somewhere between step 50 and step 100, it clicked. Mindfulness isn't a stern hall monitor. It's a gentle friend who keeps taking your hand and saying, "Here, this moment, try again." I'm now zeroing in on the core concepts for the novel. This means I'm taking the initial ideas and expanding on them in a first-person narrative. Focusing on the stressed retreat perspective, I'm aiming to weave these specific elements into a compelling story. I'm presently exploring the nuances of Shaolin Kung Fu, Zhuangzi's butterfly dream, push hands, and flowing like water. I'm aiming for gentle humor, contrasting expectations with reality. The challenge lies in weaving these concepts into a compelling narrative that emphasizes emotional well-being. I'm now integrating the horse stance as a metaphor for discipline, seeing its pain as grounding. Chapter 17 explores Zhuangzi's dream, creating humor through the narrator's confusion upon waking and linking the concept to letting go of rigid identities. Chapter 18 dives into push hands, contrasting the narrator's initial attempts at force with the emotional angle of listening and yielding. I'm now outlining chapters 19 and 20. Chapter 19 revisits Baguazhang, focusing on the humorous absurdity of circle walking and the emotional core of finding peace within boredom. Chapter 20 explores flowing like water, using everyday scenarios for humor and highlighting emotional resilience. I'm keen on weaving these concepts with the prompt's focus on neighbors, mundane tasks, and subtle emotional shifts. I'm now focusing on refining the narrative flow and ensuring each chapter contributes meaningfully to the overall theme of emotional well-being. I'm checking for tonal consistency and evaluating the effectiveness of the humor. I'm also ensuring the core concepts, Shaolin, butterfly, push hands, circle walking, and water, clearly link back to emotional resilience and adaptability. I'm now in the final stages, confirming everything aligns with the user's prompt. Soft novel, check. First-person narrative, check. Humor present, definitely. Emotional well-being focus, absolutely. I'm satisfied. Now it's output generation time. The mountain air had turned me into a different person, or at least the same person, but with better posture and a slightly lower resting heart rate. Here is the next installment of my retreat diary. Find a partner, Master Han ordered. I paired up with Dave, the guy I gave the dumpling to in chapter 6. Now push, Master Han said. But do not use force. Listen to his balance. Push hands is a bizarre game of physical chess. You touch wrists and try to unsettle the other person's center of gravity. My instinct was to shove Dave. Dave's instinct was to shove me back. We looked like two elks fighting over a parking spot. No, Master Han intervened. If he pushes, you yield, you turn, you let his force fall into empty space. I tried again. When Dave leaned in, instead of stiffening up, I just turned my waist. Dave stumbled forward, looking surprised. Softness overcomes hardness, Master Han nodded. This was a breakthrough for my relationships. I realized I treat arguments like a shoving match. If someone says something I don't like, I push back. But push hands taught me that if I just yield a little, listen, acknowledge, and pivot, the conflict loses its balance and falls over on its own. Plus, it's much funnier to watch the problem stumble. We walk again, Master Han announced. By now, I was getting used to Bagua circle walking, but today, Master Han wanted us to focus on the mud wading step, sliding our feet flat along the ground as if walking through heavy mud. Why? I asked. To keep your center smooth, he said. I'm currently fleshing out the connections between the Taoist principles and the martial arts styles from items 8 to 11. I'm focusing on translating these abstract concepts into a more narrative, first-person, soft novel style, emphasizing the experience of embodying these principles in practice. The goal is to capture the essence of these martial arts. I'm now starting to deconstruct each concept with a focus on a more gentle, humorous tone. I'm brainstorming metaphors and scenarios for each point. For instance, I'm considering portraying emotional states through the lens of the 5-element theory, creating relatable, humorous situations where feeling too metal leads to irritability. The goal is to make these concepts accessible and enjoyable for the reader. I'm now thinking about translating the experience of physical limitation into more relatable scenarios. Feeling like a sleepy house cat while trying to embody the tiger is an amusing angle. Internal alchemy, or Nidan, is like brewing soul coffee, with the Dantian being a snack storage area. I'm now integrating the 5-element theory with emotional regulation, humorously depicting states like excess fire as a cool way to say stressed. I'm exploring the generating cycle too, like using wood and metal to ease the fire. For Xing Yi Quan, I'm framing the bear movement as an amusing contrast between power and awkwardness, highlighting the journey toward intent. I'm now thinking about the Dantian, imagining it as a physical location, like an alchemical cauldron. Stance training feels like focusing on this battery in my belly. I'm recalling Master Han's poke, my flippant response, and the profound feeling of centeredness that followed. I'm also now reviewing the draft, making sure the humor stays relatable and that I remain true to my first-person perspective. The wood element, and stubbornly being that, is next. I'm presently focusing on Chapter 9, specifically the bear and eagle forms, drawing attention to their contrasting characteristics. Chapter 10's slow cooker analogy feels promising, so I'm honing it. I'm also now structuring Chapter 11 around the concept of a storage unit for stress versus energy, aiming to translate the tension between the Dantian and internal alchemy into this digestible metaphor. "You are feeling very wood today," Master Han observed as I sat on a bench, aggressively frowning at a squirrel that had stolen a cracker. "I am not wood," I grumbled. "I am flesh, bone, and 90% caffeine." No, he sat beside me. "In Taoism, we are a cycle of 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Right now, you are stiff, growing upwards, and stubborn. That is wood." He explained that my anxiety wasn't just me being a mess. It was likely an excess of fire. My indecision, probably my earth element being a bit muddy. It was a revelation. Instead of blaming myself for being moody, I could just blame the elements. It felt much more dignified to say, "Sorry I snapped at you, my metal is clashing with your wood," rather than, "I am hangry." "So how do I fix it?" I asked. "Balance," Master Han smiled. "If you are too rigid like wood, you need the fluidity of water. Go take a bath, or at least drink a glass of water and stop glaring at the squirrel." "Today we become animals," Master Han announced. I immediately perked up. Finally, I thought, I can be a majestic eagle. "You," Master Han pointed at me, "will practice the bear." Xing Yi Quan is a martial art that takes the essence of animals and turns them into direct, powerful moves. I assume the bear style involves roaring and looking terrifying. "The bear is heavy," Master Han corrected, watching me flail my arms. "The bear is grounded. The bear does not worry about the stock market. The bear simply drops." I spent the next hour stomping around the courtyard, trying to embody the spirit of a grizzly. The problem is, my inner bear is less the Revenant and more Winnie the Pooh. I wasn't striking with power, I was just kind of lumbering and hugging the air. "Better," Master Han nodded, hiding a smile. "You look less like a fighter and more like you are looking for a comfortable place to hibernate. But the intent is there. And honestly, it felt good. Being a bear gave me permission to be heavy, to stop holding my stomach in, and to take up space. I realized that sometimes emotional well-being is just letting yourself be a large, unbothered mammal.